Thank you for joining us this evening for the 2021 AIA Eastern New York Design Awards. Our program will begin shortly, but first, a few words from our sponsors. Gold sponsor, Marvin. Marvin is driven to imagine and create better ways of living. With every window and door they make, Marvin strives to bring more natural light and more fresh air into homes, and to create deeper connections to the natural world. Crafted with exceptional skill, their products deliver quality you can see, touch, and feel, beauty that brings joy, and performance that stands the test of time. Marvin puts people at the center of everything they do by designing for how people live and work and imagining new ways their products can contribute to happier and healthier homes. Silver sponsor, Best Tile. Best Tile understands that every project is unique. Their focus is to create a personalized working environment to determine the aesthetic look and budget for your specification. Best Tile's commercial sales representatives are available to introduce products that are suitable for projects including commercial, light commercial, and multi-unit residential construction. Their commercial representatives have a wealth of technical and design knowledge to inform you on decisions for floor, wall, interior, and exterior applications, along with advice for underlayment, thinset, and grout options that will suit your project. Best Tile works with the world's premier European and American technical porcelain manufacturers to provide commercial customers with unrivaled products. Best Tile is truly an all-in-one solution provider for the architectural and design community. Best Tile would like to congratulate this year's winners, and they look forward to working with you on your future projects. Silver sponsor, Dell Tile. Dell Tile Corporation is the largest manufacturer and marketer of ceramic, porcelain, glass and metal tile, as well as natural stone, large format slab, and countertop products used in residential and commercial spaces across North America. Under its powerhouse of brands, Dell Tile leads the industry in both design and product innovation, and is committed to incorporating environmentally friendly materials, processes, and products throughout its organization. Dell Tile has more than 9,000 employees in North America and sells its products through a network of more than 300 company-owned sales service centers, stone slab yards, design galleries, and design studios that service a robust network of trade customers. Dell Tile products are also sold throughout independent flooring retailers, independent distributors, and leading home center retailers nationwide. Founded in 1947 and headquartered in Dallas, Texas, Dell Tile is a division of Mohawk Industries, the leading global flooring manufacturer that creates products to enhance residential and commercial spaces around the world. Silver sponsor, Tremco Roofing and Building Maintenance. Tremco Roofing and Building Maintenance understands that meeting a building owner's new construction or renovation needs is your biggest concern. Helping you deliver the best roofing and weatherproofing solution for those needs is theirs. Beyond their comprehensive line of products and services, they evaluate all the factors that influence a roof design before you start writing a specification, and work with you every step of the way to help ensure that you meet your client's needs and budget. Tremco Roofing is committed to making sure that your roofing and weatherproofing projects run smoothly and are available to offer assistance throughout a project, from education, specification and detailed development to project oversight. As a registered provider for the AIA, Tremco Roofing is your roofing resource, providing essential roofing information to architects and specifiers in the New York State Capital Region. Welcome to the 2021 AIA Eastern New York Design Awards. Please welcome the 2021 AIA Eastern New York President, Stephen Kervin, and this year's chair of the AIA Eastern New York Design Awards, Katrina Pacheco.
Welcome to the Jericho Drive-In. By now, the staff has reviewed the rules with you, given you the radio station for audio, and directed you to your spot in the drive-in. As a reminder, if you are vaccinated, you are not required to wear a mask. If you are not vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask. If the weather is cooperating this evening, you may set chairs or blankets directly outside your vehicle. If you need to use the restroom, they are located at the concession stand. The ladies' room is at the rear of the building, and the men's room is on the left-hand side. You may order food online once you are inside the drive-in by going to online ordering at jerichodrivein.com. There is a hyphen between drive and in. You must order items from the concession stand and twist ice cream in 2 separate orders. Just add your food to your cart and check out. You will receive an automated text message when your food is ready. To get you started, you should have a ticket that you may turn in at the concession stand for a bucket of popcorn, compliments of AIA Eastern New York. You were given a garbage bag at check-in to dispose of your trash. You may bring it to the dumpster located behind the snack bar, or you may take it home with you. Please do not dispose of trash in the parking lot or in the field. The Jericho Drive-In staff and we thank you for your cooperation. And now I would like to turn it over to Stephen, this year's AIA Eastern New York president. Stephen?
Good evening, and welcome to the AIA Eastern New York Design Awards. I'm Stephen Curvin, your 2021 AIA Eastern New York president. As we navigate our way out of the pandemic, we find ourselves hosting the Design Awards at the Drive-In one more time to make it possible for us to celebrate the amazing work our members have completed and to keep everyone safe in the process. AIA Eastern New York has an obligation to provide value to its membership and to recognize the achievements you have all made each and every year. We know how important this event is to all of you, and we understand that it is essential that we organize this event with your safety in mind. For that reason, we would like to extend our extreme gratitude to the owners and staff at the Jericho Drive-In for the opportunity to host such an important event. Your flexibility and generosity are greatly appreciated. We would also like to take the time to thank our hardworking staff at AIA New York State. Without them, this event would still be in the planning stages. Their commitment to their work is unmatched, and we are grateful for all of your efforts. Finally, we would like to thank all of the AIA Eastern New York members. The work that you do has the potential to improve lives, influence behavior, and to make the world a better place to live in. It is because of your dedication to the craft that we are here tonight. This past year had its challenges. We had to navigate factory shutdowns, material and labor shortages, and overall increases in the cost of construction. We set up virtual meetings and office space. We shared office space with remote learners. And most importantly, we had to learn to navigate the mute button on our Zoom calls. We lost face-to-face time with our clients and consultants, one of our most valuable tools in this profession. We lost that personal and emotional relationship through virtual meetings. Let's face it, are you all confident that all of the smiling faces on the screen are actually paying attention to you? Or are they more focused on the titles of the books in your virtual background? There's a reason why Twitter and Pinterest accounts focused solely on this topic. Those virtual backgrounds are immensely distracting. Through all of this, our membership and our profession has persevered. Despite overwhelming odds, so much fantastic work has been completed, some of which we will see tonight. We, as architects, should be proud of the things that we have continued to do for the profession and our local communities. I am delighted to call myself the president of AIA Eastern New York, and I can't wait to see what this next year brings. Thank you again for your continued perseverance through these difficult times. I hope that you are able to relax tonight and enjoy some of the work that we have accomplished. Now, I'd like to turn it back over to Katrina, this year's chair of the AIA Eastern New York Design Awards, to say a few more words. Katrina?
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks goes out to all of you sitting in your cars for attending this celebration of design excellence. As Stephen mentioned, I'm Katrina Pacheco, an AIA Eastern New York member and chair of this year's Design Awards. We gather this year, both physically and virtually, to honor the talent of our members, recognize the excellence of our collective work, and commend their contributions to the built environment. Every day, AIA Eastern New York members take dreams and make them into the reality of places where we work, play, and dwell, using the power of architecture to shape the world. Tonight, we celebrate the breadth and depth of this tremendous work. The 2021 AIA Eastern New York Design Awards Committee Executive Committee and Board of Directors extend their gratitude to everyone who took the time and effort to submit this year and congratulate the award recipients on their achievement. We are proud to represent and serve such an exceptional group of professionals. Before we announce the award recipients, I would like to thank this year's Design Awards jury, all members of the AIA Buffalo Western New York chapter. Jeffrey Closure, AIA Jury Chair, Partner at Stieglitz Snyder Architecture. Michael Anderson, AIA, Owner and President of Abstract Architecture. Courtney Creenan-Chorley, AIA, Project Architect at CJS Architects. Luke Johnson, Design Leader at Canon Design. And Paul McDonnell, AIA, Vice President of Education at AIA New York State and President of the Campaign for Greater Buffalo History, Architecture, and Culture. Thank you. Now let me introduce our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, whom we are thrilled to have as part of this celebration. Artist Michael Oatman calls his practice the poetic interpretation of documents. His collages and installations integrate thousands of found, modified, and handmade components, including artifacts of material culture, painting, drawing, video, and food. These architectural environments have been installed at museums, public spaces, and private homes. His installations are context-specific and demand from him a total immersion into physical location, sonic, haptic realms, local history, and the personal stories of those he encounters while working. He has exhibited extensively in the U.S. and abroad. I've personally observed some remnants of student work in the heart of Rome that reminded me that it's important to look twice and perhaps longer at items we have grown quick to read and interpret. His reconstructions of permanence and decay, seen through and acted out by students under his tutelage, leave lasting impressions. Oatman received his Bachelor of Fine Arts from RISD and his Master's from the University at Albany. He has taught at Harvard, UVM, UAlbany, St. Michael's College, and Vermont College. He has been a visiting critic at RISD from 1986 to the present, and since 1999, he's been a faculty member at the School of Architecture at Rensselaer. Oatman has offered seminars on Marcel Duchamp and Alfred Hitchcock and specializes in studio courses where students build projects at a 1-to-1 scale. He teaches drawing, thesis, and helps students toward the realization of their own research. In 2004, he began working with gifted students from RPI, Skidmore, SUNY, and other schools under the name Falling Anvil Studios. Many recent graduates have Michael Oatman stories that give glimpses into his innovative and constantly questioning character. Recent projects include All Utopias Fell, a permanent commission for Mass MoCA that was open until October 2020, a recent book for graphic design firm ID29, and a long-term outdoor video environment. At the beginning of the shutdown in March 2020, Michael stocked up on food for a month of seclusion and got to work in his 6,000 square foot home studio, once a church hall, designed by Phoebus and Schmidt out of Schenectady back in the mid-20th century. In all, 3 new works were started and finished during the shutdown period. Shooting Star and Rising Sun, Imitation of Life, or The Fossil Record, and American Spring each take the inspirational original images and explode interpretation in new directions through the foils of repetition and recognition by the viewer. The latest of these 3 works debuted in last year's Fence Show at the Arts Center of the Capital Region. I encourage you to check out his works online. There is a video tour of the Mass MoCA installation, and especially in person when you have the opportunity to be in the space and time he creates with his art. I have been privileged to know Michael for several years through the academic scene at Rensselaer, but also through mutual friends for a longer time. I am pleased to introduce our MC for the evening's festivities, Mr. Michael Oatman.
Now, a short reminder about how these projects were selected for award recognition. All projects are judged blindly by a group of architects whose projects are not involved, in other words, not submitting, and no one in the local chapter knows anything about the recipients until the jury has agreed on the awards. All right, sit back, relax, and enjoy the popcorn and the show.
Commercial, Small, Honor Award. Adirondack Trust Company, Exit 18 Branch, Queensbury, New York. Submitting Firm, Balzer & Tuck Architecture. Structural Engineering. Artisan Engineering. MEP Engineering. Houston Engineering. Lighting Design. Nelson Reed's ALD. Interior Design. Rovetto Design Group. General Contractor. Munter Enterprises. The vision for this project was to blend traditional Adirondack design with the client's progressive business philosophy. Accessibility to customers and passive security through visibility were identified as two design priorities. The site is within a neighborhood with gabled roof single-family residential buildings and single-story commercial buildings close to the Adirondack Northway that leads to downtown Glens Falls. The Open Manager's workstations are located to the south, adjacent to the entry lobby, providing clear visual connection through the teller stations to the drive-through services at the north. The layering of spaces created a progression of decreasing occupant loads, which inform the building's partie. The plan is narrowest at the most secure north end of the building and opens as it works south to the public zones, symbolizing their open approach to business. Built-in casework teller stations expand the width of the interior, controlling access between the lobby and the teller stations. The second floor shares access through the main building entry and contains offices, shared workspace, and a small conference room. The branch vice president's office and conference room overlook the lobby and main entry below, furthering their passive approach to security. The progression of secure to open spaces is reinforced in the building's form, where a two-story mono-pitched roof protects walls of glass enclosing the manager's stations and public lobby. Walls become more solid as the building program becomes more secure. A one-story flat-roofed conference room projects south towards Main Street and leads customers to the single entry facing the east parking. A mix of heavy timber and locally quarried stone relate to the regional Adirondack camps, while the aluminum and glass curtain walls and painted fiber cement siding reference more contemporary buildings. Deep overhangs and wall-mounted louvers mitigate effects of undesirable summer sun without inhibiting the owner's requirement for visual connection with the surrounding site.
The Adirondack Trust Company motto is above and beyond, and they have lived that with this project. Balzer & Tuck would like to thank them for entrusting their team with the design of their newest bank branch. Balzer & Tuck would also like to thank Munter Enterprises for their commitment to quality as they transformed their shared vision into a built work.
Commercial, Large, Award of Merit. Aerosmith Development, Saratoga Springs, New York. Submitting Firm, Balzer & Tuck Architecture. Structural Engineering, Artisan Engineering. Site Civil Engineering and Landscape Design, the LA Group. Lighting Design, Nelson Reed's ALD. General Contractor, Bonaccio Construction. Custom Millwork and Furniture, Urban Industrial Design. A rhombus-shaped site on the City of Saratoga Springs West Avenue corridor is home to a new mixed-use building designed for Aerosmith Development, a Saratoga Springs-based company that provides wireless site development, installation, and services throughout the United States. The client's desire was to provide the warmth of a residence coupled with the sophistication of a commercial office building. The building partie was driven by the unique shape of the site and a sanitary sewer easement which contains the City of Saratoga Springs' primary force main. Providing vehicular circulation to a private two-car garage while meeting off-street parking requirements added to the complexity. A high water table required that the slab on grade and wood frame construction contain all mechanical systems above grade. The result is an 11,100 square foot, 3-story mixed-use building that contains 7,500 square feet of commercial office space across the first and second floors and 3,600 square feet of third-floor residential space with 2 corporate apartments. The building is broken down into 3 separate masses, 2 gable structures separated by a flat-roofed gasket. The gable structures are splayed in plan to respond to the site geometry, avenue, and easement, while their forms respect the neighboring residential properties. Outdoor terraces allow office and residential functions to connect to the exterior views. A central stair anchors the office space while capturing views of the woods beyond. A custom wood reception desk and conference tables bring warmth to the space. Glass office partitions invite natural light into the building. Employees' use of the corporate kitchen and coffee bar with an outdoor dining balcony, often ending their day with a happy hour at a third-floor rooftop patio and outdoor bar overlooking the lands of Saratoga State Park to the south.
From the initial interview to the final walkthrough of the newly constructed building, every day spent with their client, Margaret Smith, president of Aerosmith Development, was truly enjoyable. Her creativity, patience, and energy never wavered. Balzer and Tuck were fortunate to have Bonaccio Construction of Saratoga Springs complete her vision.
Historic Preservation Award of Merit. The restoration of the Yaddo Mansion, Saratoga Springs, New York. Submitting firm, Lacey, Thaler, Riley, Wilson, Architecture and Preservation. Landscape Architecture, the LA Group. MEP Engineering, ME Engineering. Structural Engineering, Silman Associates. Leaded Glass Consultant, Julie L. Sloan. General Contractor, Louis C. Alagrone. Asbestos Abatement, Classic Environmental. Painting, Victoria Eastman Painting. Leaded and Stained Glass Restoration, Rolf Stained and Leaded Glass Studio. Roofing, Douglas J. Wooliver and Sons. Wood Restoration, Conserve Architecture. Window Wood Restoration, Distinctive Cabinetry. In 2012, the Corporation of Yaddo began working on a capital plan for improvements to the Artists' Retreat. Yaddo became a federally designated National Historic Landmark in 2013 and is a unique institution that has inspired artists for nearly 100 years. It was the 400-acre estate of financier Spencer Trask and his wife Katrina. The Trasks bequeathed their fortune and estate to the establishment of a residency program for artists, founding the Corporation of Yaddo in 1900. Since opening its doors in 1926, Yaddo artists have collectively won 77 Pulitzer Prizes, 31 MacArthur Fellowships, 69 National Book Awards, and a Nobel Prize. Repairs over the years were frequent, but generally limited in scope and effectiveness. To prepare the mansion for the next 100 years, the exterior work was comprehensive, including cleaning and repointing of all stone and brick masonry, restoration of stucco and wood trim, deconstruction and reconstruction of severely deteriorated stone masonry at the porte cochere and west terrace, restoration of the slate and metal roof, introduction of a lighting protection system, restoration of more than 500 windows and doors, expansion and upgrades to the subsurface drainage and dry well systems, reproduction of the deteriorated cast concrete frieze panels, and the restoration of the original decorative iron and bronze pieces, including the 7-foot-tall weather vane. In addition, the HVAC mechanical system for the servants' wing was replaced, providing the basis for future systems upgrades in the mansion. Conventional field documentation with infrared thermography and point cloud laser surveying were utilized to collect accurate and thorough detailing of the building. This was the basis for highly precise documentation of problems of repair and development of restoration solutions, especially within the masonry wall assemblies. On June 20, 2019, The Yaddo Corporation held its annual Summer Benefit Gala and formally celebrated the reopening of the historic mansion.
LTRW would like to thank AIA Eastern New York for honoring the restoration of Yaddo Mansion. It was a pleasure working with a team of craftspeople who meticulously restored the stonework, slate and metal roofing, nearly 500 windows, and much more. The project is a testament to the pride and skill which remains in the crafts and their responsibility to nurture.
Institutional Award of Merit. Dutch Quad Residence Halls, Health Services Renovations, University at Albany, Albany, New York. Submitting Firm, Architecture Plus. Mechanical and Electrical Engineering, Sage Engineering and Associates. Plumbing and Fire Protection Engineering and Hazardous Materials Abatement Design, Watts Architecture and Engineering. Civil Engineering, Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, MJ Engineering and Land Surveying. Energy Modeling, Pathfinder Engineers and Architects. Structural Engineering, Springline Design. Site Engineering and Survey, Tolman Engineering, Architecture and Surveying. Programming Consultant, Trudeau Architects. Cost Consulting, Toscano Clements Taylor. General Contractor, LaChase Construction Service. The comprehensive rehabilitation of the University at Albany's Dutch Quad buildings G&H consist of renovations to the existing residence halls on the first, second, and third floors, and the transformation of the existing dining facility on the lower level into a campus health and counseling services center. The integration of these resources into a dedicated wellness center brings critical and complementary services together for the first time. The existing buildings, like the rest of the architecture on the Uptown campus, were designed in the unique postmodernist architectural style of Edward Durrell Stone. The exterior is complete with expansive arches, slender modern columns, open pedestrian plazas, and sunken courtyards. A new entrance was designed to act as a beacon to the new 75,000 square foot health center and complement the idiosyncrasies of the campus. Renovations to the interior of the building honor the existing infrastructure and enhance the overall experience to provide a modern student health center and student housing facility. On the ground level, the new health center houses provider and counseling offices, 21 exam rooms, a pharmacy, and 3 multi-purpose spaces to support group therapy and wellness initiatives on campus. At the entrance to the residence hall on the first floor, the Academic Student Success Center and Vending Cafe provide some much-needed collaborative social space on the Dutch Quad. The introduction of a Success Center on the Quad is part of a broader campus initiative to bring student success programs to the students. The shift to quad-based centers is in direct support of the increased enrollment of first-generation college students. The residential spaces were reconfigured to accommodate 2 double-bedroom suite-style housing with 2 laundry rooms on each floor. A total of 171 beds are provided between the Beverwyck and Schuyler residence halls. A variety of lounges with interior full-height glazing have been incorporated into the design along the perimeter of the building, which allows natural light to flow into the corridors on the residential floors. Finishes and energy-efficient building systems were upgraded to improve the livability and durability of the building, which has achieved LEED Gold certification.
On behalf of the entire project team, A+ would like to thank their clients, the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, and the University at Albany, for trusting them to design this exciting and innovative project. The decision to incorporate a wellness center into a residence hall allowed the project team to explore many creative opportunities.
Interiors Award of Merit. The restoration of St. Anthony's Church, Schenectady, New York. Submitting Firm, Lacey, Thaler, Riley, Wilson Architecture and Preservation. MEP FP Engineering, MH Professional Engineering. Lighting design, Lilker Associates. Decorative art consultant, Evergreen Architectural Arts. Liturgical design, Reverend Richard Vasco. Acoustics, Clayton Acoustics Group. Fire restoration, Laguerre Restorations. Construction manager, Wainshaft Associates. Asbestos abatement, Optech Environmental Services. Millwork, David Fuller Cabinet Makers. Painting, Evergreen Architecture Arts. Stained glass windows, Chapman Stained Glass Studio. Ceramic tile, M&S Tile Marble Designs. Flooring, Hanson's Wood Flooring. Architectural metal work, the Heldeberg Blacksmith. In 2014, St. Anthony's Church was severely damaged by fire, and the 1924 Italian Romanesque Revival Church was in danger of being shuttered. The parish wanted to restore as much of the original decorative interior as funding allowed, while addressing liturgical changes, improving accessibility, updating systems, and recapturing the solemn beauty of the space. Goals included getting the congregation back into the building so that they remained intact as a community, recapturing the essence of the original sanctuary, and designing new elements that harmonize with the original aesthetic. The basement community room was renovated, creating a temporary worship space, while the renovation began in the sanctuary above. A wheelchair lift installed on the main floor provides access to all levels, and an accessible bathroom was created. The altar was brought forward, and a tabernacle was placed behind it in a new devotional chapel with custom wrought iron gates. Original statuary niches were recreated, allowing for a reconciliation room and sacristy behind them. The pew layout was modified to allow for a custom octagonal baptismal font to be placed in the center of the congregation as the new heart of the church. During the fire, many of the murals and stained glass windows were destroyed. Working with a decorative painting studio, surviving murals were restored. New murals were created, and a decorative scheme was developed that respected the original design intent. The wood truss ceiling was restored, bringing back the original bright blue, red, and gold accents. Stained glass windows were restored. 3 were recreated from photographs. New custom furnishings incorporate motifs used in the decorative painting of the space. Mechanical systems were replaced and new LED lighting installed to accentuate the architecture and create a new contemplative place for prayer. The renovated space provides parishioners with a connection to past memories while incorporating the upgrades that were needed. The parish is once again a thriving community.
Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson Architecture and Preservation would like to thank AIA Eastern New York for acknowledging the renovation of St. Anthony's after the devastating fire which could have easily shuttered this vibrant part of Schenectady forever. The determination to rebuild and make changes that reflect the needs of today's parishioners is a testament to the vitality of its parish community.
Interiors, Honor Award, the Rue Institute at Northeastern University, Portland, Maine. Submitting firm, SMRT Architects and Engineers. General contractor, Cianbro. The 25,000 square foot interior fit-out for the Rue Institute includes workspace and learning environments with flexibility and visual access through the space. All furnishings are freestanding, movable, and compatible in function, fit, and finish. Furniture is utilized interchangeably, adapting to the changing needs and rotating research teams. Power is provided via undercarpet raceways and freestanding battery-powered stanchions that move along with furniture and people. Built elements have been carefully located to create intimate neighborhoods of work and learning space, and to maintain sight lines to the views of the water. The arrival experience at the main entry is critical. The carpet pattern resembles crashing waves. Upholstery fabrics with mesh-like textures are inspired by stacks of lobster traps, and splashes of red and yellow tie in the iconic Costco Bay ferries, seen from the collaborative cafe. Whitewashed plywood panels evoke the feel of salty oxidation and driftwood. The goal of the Rue Institute is to spur innovation and build talent through education and local partnerships. The design concepts utilizes wood-clad volumes that allow for an open environment that enables experiential learning and the integration of education, research and development, and professional practice. The design creates opportunities for collaboration within an open setting while being framed with research and development. The wood-clad form's geometry adds a layer of complexity that creates moments of discovery as the fractal forms play with light and shadow within the existing core. The experience brings one through different environments of program, which reveal themselves as one moves through the Institute. The strategic partnerships and the integration of practice through experiential learning create a deep connection to the local community. The programmatic neighborhoods are strategically placed between defined areas to elicit spontaneous acts of collaboration.
SMRT would like to thank the Design Awards Committee of the AIA Eastern New York for this great award. They are thrilled to be part of the growing focus on design quality in the local chapter.
Residential, Single-Family Detached, Honor Award. Travis Heights Residence, Austin, Texas. Submitting firm, Balzer & Tuck Architecture. Structural Engineer, SEC Solutions. Developer, Fergie Time. General Contractor, McCabe Development. This is the first of several projects with an Austin, Texas development team with Travis Heights serving as a personal residence for one of the partners. Located on a lot backing up to Blund Creek in the Travis Heights neighborhood with views of the Austin skyline. The project consists of a 3-story, 4-bedroom single-family, 3,250 square foot main residence with an attached 1-story, 2-bedroom, 660 square foot in-law suite. The City of Austin McMansion Ordinance defines the maximum amount of development permitted on a property, containing extremely restrictive plan and massing guidelines. The guidelines led the architect to present a design solution consisting of a series of stacked and intersecting volumes, intended to balance the required privacy for 2 dwellings on a shared 10,000 square foot city lot. The ends of the stacked rectangular volumes remain open to frame views of the adjacent yard, tree canopy, and city skyline, while creating intimate spaces within, balancing natural light with visual privacy. Exterior materials of stucco, wood, board-formed concrete, fiber cement, and glass were used to give further definition to the design. Details throughout the home are crafted with precision and a testament to the local talented tradespeople. A steel and wood entry gate greets visitors upon their arrival, leading to a custom 6-foot wide by 10-foot high glass pivot main entry door. Entering, a 3-story staircase which climbs along a wall of windows, allowing natural light to flood the stairwell and spill into the adjacent living spaces through a 2-story steel balustrade. The open first-floor living area and private second-floor terraces seamlessly transition to their respective outdoor spaces. Custom quarter-sawn white oak cabinetry was designed throughout the home, achieving a minimalist feel for the living spaces. An elevator threads the 3 levels together, bringing you to a rooftop deck where the spectacular views of Austin's skyline can be admired.
This project came to life through the creativity of their client, Fergie Time, whose willingness to explore materials and details led to the design solution. A special thanks to Trevor Flynn and Peter Urban of Balzer & Tuck Architecture, who both embraced every challenge along the way. And there were plenty to embrace.
Good evening. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho announced the advent of the tumultuous 1960s with an image of police that were to be feared. Only 6 months earlier, an eerily similar image appeared in Time magazine. Part of the Hitchcock genius was, of course, borrowing from any source. Here's another image of 1950s America from my parents' high school era. O. Winston Link's Hot Shot, Eastbound at the Lager Drive-In, West Virginia, from 1956. I think, to a lot of artists and designers and architects, place is really important. My first visual memory of a place other than my parents' home was the drive-in movie theater in South Burlington, Vermont. It was a lot like this. I remember the slope of the ground, the metal speakers hung on the car windows, the smell of the popcorn and the hot dogs that Mom would bring from the snack bar. Recall Dad trying to light one of those pick mosquito coils so that we could enjoy the movie bug-free. So that idea of coming to a place, assessing it, trying to figure out what's special about it, these are important things that I try to share with my students. Under the bell jar is a capacitor manufactured by Sprague Electric Company of North Adams, Massachusetts. My former Rensselaer student Rob Ray sent me this on a visit to Los Alamos, New Mexico, home of the atomic bomb. On the right-hand side is an egg-shaped rock that I found in a stream next to my parents' house when I was 10 years old. So the egg represents nature, the capacitor culture. And somewhere in between these two things is where my work as an artist and a teacher is located. The first movie I remember seeing was the 1971 detective story Clute, starring Jane Fonda and Donald Sutherland. Like Psycho, it was a neo-noir crime story about a kidnapping gone wrong. It was directed by Alan J. Pakula, a great fan of the Hitchcock style of cinema. In 1981, I was a sophomore at Champlain Valley Union High School in Hinesburg, Vermont. One night on the local news, there was a story about an artist named Wes Disney, who was making a photographic mural mounted on the side of the J.C. Penney building in downtown Burlington. He was working with volunteers to install 35,000 brick-sized Xeroxes of an aerial photograph of a highway road cut, an image at a 1-to-1 scale. I insisted that my mom drive me into town the next day to meet the artist and see the project. The work, entitled A Wall, was 143 feet long and 35 feet high. It was the most powerful thing I had ever seen, and I felt it was the strangest way for a grown-up to spend their time, but I volunteered to help make that mural, my first encounter with the public artwork, and one that existed at an even larger scale than the drive-in movie screen. I'm artist Michael Oatman, and for the past 22 years I've taught in the School of Architecture at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I'm an associate professor and have an unusual gig as the permanent artist in residence. And since the 1960s, I'm the fourth person to hold this position. The first was the great kinetic sculptor George Rickey, who taught from 1961 to 66. One of his larger works, 6 Random Lines Eccentric, is situated in front of the Green Building at Rensselaer, where I teach. After Rickey came Donald Moshon, a gifted draftsman, cartoonist, and the director of the University Art Museum at SUNY Albany. My immediate predecessor was painter Karen Kanye. She left the School of Architecture in 1999 to join RPI's fledgling School of the Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. And that's where I came in. The work that I had been making when I joined the faculty at RPI can be broadly called installation art. These large environments were based on historical research, but often used elements of fiction and cinema, and were a kind of second cousin to architecture. Long Shadows, Henry Perkins and the Eugenics Survey of Vermont, was my first large-scale installation. It used the permanent collection of the University of Vermont's Fleming Museum to look at a dark period in Vermont's history, when zoology professor Henry Farnham Perkins used his position to advocate for the sterilization of Vermonters that he felt were detrimental to the future of the state. Roman Catholics, Indigenous people, African Americans, French Canadians, and young people who could be coerced signed away their reproductive futures. Eugenics, invented by Francis Galton, a cousin of Charles Darwin, reached its full expression in Nazi Germany. Many ideas for the concentration camps were based on American eugenics practice. While this social justice artwork was not architecture per se, it was an early project where I shaped space conceptually and socially, rather than just filling it with sculpture. Long Shadows was a gateway to developing not only my art practice, but my teaching and research practice as well. Since 1999, my students and I have produced dozens of projects built at a 1:1 scale, not only in the academic setting, but out in Troy, Albany, and in New York City. In addition, I have collaborated with students on my own art as the creative director of Falling Anvil Studios, my quasi-architectural practice. Here are a few more real-world projects from the School of Architecture. The RX Box Studio produced a medical facility built inside a repurposed 20-foot-long shipping container. In 2004, I had visited Haiti to see their overburdened infrastructure and to determine whether or not some of the 30,000 abandoned shipping containers clogging their ports could be utilized to relieve the housing crisis. Informed by our dialogue with NGOs and the citizens of Haiti, I decided to sponsor a charrette to imagine container-based schools and housing. We worked with the company that invented the shipping container, Transamerica Leasing, the UN, and Doctors Without Borders. The students learned how to weld, do electrical wiring, abate hazardous materials, and paint the container. They created new storage and medical record systems from free or repurposed materials, and they even learned how to make a project budget. Informed by a brief entitled Doc in a Box, written by Laurie Garrett, a renowned journalist with the Council on Foreign Relations, we transformed her proposal using 40-foot-long containers into a more efficient 20-footer that could still contain all of her programming, but was easier to get into mountainous areas. She was impressed with the students' work and invited the RX Box Studio to the Council to present their project at an international AIDS conference. I'm happy to say that our modest student project has since inspired an NGO called Containers to Clinics to open in Boston, and they have produced dozens of dock-in-a-box clinics for Nicaragua. Blind Field is a project that came out of the Production, Installation, and Performance, or PIP studio, established by acoustician Chris Jaffe. In PIP, a School of Architecture professor teams up with an arts professor, and we invite a performing artist to present their work to students. Out of this residency, a dialogue emerges where they can invent and construct a performance context within which artists can develop new, original works. Blind Field was made in response to Spanish composer Francisco Lopez's primarily sonic environments. In Lopez's concerts, visitors are usually blindfolded and recline in the dark. For the first time in his practice, the students translated one of his immersive environments into an experience for mobile listeners. This occurred in a low-light situation. Blind Field premiered at MPAC in 2011. Seven years later, I was invited to create an exhibition for the Tang Teaching Museum at Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, New York. For a decade, I had been teaching a seminar course on Marcel Duchamp, the father of conceptual art. Working with Tang director and curator Ian Barry, our students learned about Duchamp's practice and the legacy of his work that has informed so many 20th and 21st century artists. The students created public hangout spaces, moving walls, columns with hidden display areas, and responded to Duchampian concepts like the ready-made, machine-assisted art, and his notion that the viewer is at least as important as the artist. Rose Ocean, Living with Duchamp, opened in February 2018 and is the Tang Museum's most ambitious installation to date. My former colleague Ken Warner used to say that architecture isn't about buildings, It's about events. It's about emotions. And a definition that we arrived at, a good working definition, was that architecture is a material intervention into a physical space that results in a social change. I've been able to experience that for 5 years now in my home and studio here in Troy, New York, built in a former Methodist church in the manner of Frank Lloyd Wright. It was designed by the Schenectady-based architecture firm Fibus and Schmidt, and I've really loved bringing students here over the years, collaborating with them, telling them the story of this building, and sharing with them the joys, really, of occupying a beautifully designed space. Let's give our award winners a final round of applause. Congratulations to everyone. Before we call it an evening, let's bring up our chair of this year's Design Awards for final notes. Katrina?
Thank you, Michael, and thank you all again for your attendance and for the great things that you all do. refill your popcorn bucket and enjoy the feature film House Sitter, starring Steve Martin, who plays an architect, and Goldie Hawn. Enjoy the second half of the show.